that moment when Konami is able to spit out an entire archetype of Thunder Dragons in the time it takes for Narukami to get support. Bear in mind that only 3 Thunder archetypes in Yu-Gi-Oh! Exist at this point. Feels bad, man. However, these cards in their hand, not so feels bad. Greetings, YouTube, and welcome to the Blue Corner. And some of you probably expected this to be coming as it got recently spoiled yesterday, or today, technically speaking, when this video is being recorded, that Thunder Dragon is getting expanded into an archetype. Now, we kind of saw this coming when they revealed Super Bolt Thunder Dragon back here. This had been known for a bit, and then more recently, the Super Boss Monster Thunder Dragon Lord. I was wondering where they were going to go with this. Was this just going to be a fusion monster for Thunder Dragon, that's it? Or would they actually make it a full-on archetype? And we got our answer. We got legacy support for SOFU, Soul Fusion. This will be the TCG October set. And unlike Dragoonity, Cyber Dragon, and Demise Ruin, this doesn't suck. Now, granted, if you, say, only looked over half of these cards, didn't read everything properly, and rushed this video out for the sole purpose of getting clicks or be the first one out there, you'd probably think this archetype sucks. But if you actually read the fucking cards, you realize that this is actually pretty good. I don't know if it will be a completely competitive deck based on its own, but at the very least, we have a very potent engine, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now is about how good your engine cards work together. So, let's analyze these cards in a manner that you guys know me best for and break these things down. So, the Thunder Dragon archetype all revolve around a pretty similar concept as the original Thunder Dragon, which, for those of you who don't know, is one of the oldest known cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! It was released in Metal Raiders, and it has seen play on and off over the years, as its ability to discard itself and fetch up to 2 copies of it from the deck, and it's not once per turn, has let itself be used in multiple strategies. For instance, you would discard it in the past to be light fodder in the graveyard for Chaos Monster summons. You would discard it, search up to 2 copies of it, and pendulum summon them out for things like Unstar Pleiades. Or you could discard one, add another copy, discard it, add another copy, then soul charge them back and make Constellar Pleiades. You could add copies of itself from the deck to hand to give yourself light fusion material for fusion monsters or thunder fusion material for thunder fusion monsters, particularly Gem Knight Prismora back in the old days of Gem Knights when you would use things like Volcanic Shell and Thunder Dragon in order to get your Citrines and whatchamacallits, Prismoras onto board, or you could use it as a light material for Shadow Construct before like better strategies came to the point. So TLDR, Thunder Dragon has been used as a good engine card for the entirety of its life in Yu-Gi-Oh! And this archetype pretty much takes that concept and runs with it because they all have the ability to discard themselves to do things. But unlike Thunder Dragon, they're quick effects. They also have abilities that trigger when they get banished or sent from field to graveyard. However, you can only use the first or the second effect per turn, and only once per turn. So they're Dragon Rulers in an instance, or so we'll call them the Dragon Ruler clause. So if you activate the first effect, you can't activate the second effect, and they're hard once per turn. So there you go. This is the deck. It's light and dark focused, so they're hinting at it trying to be chaos oriented. There is a Chaos Dragon released in this set. It's like the Primordial Chaos Dragon. It requires you to banish 3 monsters from your graveyard, either 3 darks or 3 lights, or a combination of light and dark, and it gets effects based on that. I don't know if you'd run that. BLS, though, is at 3, and that is very, very appealing. So now that we got the basic premise of these guys out of the way, let's get started. So first up, we have Origin Thunder Dragon. It is a level 1 light 0-2000. It being a level 1 means you can make Link. You can go into Link Karibo off of this guy, and it'll immediately do something, because when it's sent from field to graveyard or banished, you can add another copy of it from deck to hand. Not particularly the most impressive effect, but it is a normal summon, and this deck doesn't have very many of them, if not at all, aside from like other splashable things. So its other effect is you can discard this card and target one monster you control. Quick effect, it gains 500 attack. Now, because it's a modifier, this works in damage step, which is very important for one of the boss monsters. So pretty solid card. Its effect is not particularly impressive compared to some of the other cards, but because it's your normal summon, this will probably be a 3 of. I do need to point out, though, the 500 attack gain is permanent and works on any Thunder monster. So Thunder King Ryo, Denko Seka, and like the Thunder Kaiju, they all benefit from this. So we got that. Then we got Thunderbolt or Bolt Thunder Dragon. I'm going to keep calling him Thunderbolt Dragon, I swear to God. So Bolt Thunder Dragon, level 5 Dark, 16-15. We know its conditions now. You can only use one or the first or second effect per turn, only once per turn. So you can discard this card, quick effect. Add a Bolt Thunder Dragon from your deck to your hand. Okay, so it adds a copy of itself, whereas OG Thunder Dragon could discard itself multiple times, but it was more or less that. And then, if this card is banished or sent from field to graveyard, you can add one Thunder Dragon card from your deck to your hand except itself. Ooh, that's spicy, because the thing to note is these guys don't care how they're banished, just as long as they're banished and face up. So this means that cards like Allure of Darkness, Gold Sarcophagus, Dimensional Fissure, Macrocosmos, these don't give a fuck. As long as they get banished, they float. And this means you can Gold Sark this thing and use this effect to add anything within the archetype from deck to hand, and then get another copy of it 2 turns later. That's spicy. So what can we add off of our Bolt Thunder Dragon? Well, we have Thunder Dragon Avian, or Rock, as it's also known in mythology, and Bestial Thunder Dragon, or Thunder Dragon Beast, whichever one you want to call it. So Avian is level 6 light, 18-22, and you can discard this card, special summon one Thunder Dragon monster from your graveyard or from your banished monsters, except itself. Awesome. So you Gold Sark out Super Bolt, grab Avian, discard Avian, summon Super Bolt. That's cool. And then if this card is banished or sent from field to graveyard, you can shuffle any number of cards from your hand into the deck and draw that many. So it's a mulligan. Not as impressive as the discard effect, but at least it does something if you banish it for other means. And if you get the ability to banish it on your opponent's turn, and we can do that, it'll at least let you correct your hand if you drew a Garnet or something. And then we got Beast, who you can discard it to add any Thunder Dragon card from your graveyard or from your banished cards to your hand except itself. One of your one spell card banishes itself to do a really neat thing, so this can get that back, and you also just get back things that you banished for chaos summons and such forth, because you will be playing chaos monsters in this deck, I think, or invoked monsters. I completely forgot to point that out. You can run in the invoked engine here, because look at this, you have discardable light monsters, so you can make Macabas. Awesome. So, and if this card is banished or sent from field to graveyard, you can special summon a Thunder Dragon monster from your deck in defense position, and then bounce it to your hand at the end phase. So, okay, if you can banish it on your opponent's turn, you can summon out Bolt Thunder Dragon, and then when it dies, you can float into anything in the archetype, and thus have a good hand for the next turn. Neat. And speaking of boss monsters, here is our in-deck boss monster, Aeon Thunder Dragon. Dark Thunder, special summon effect. So for those of you who might be out the loop, special summon effect means it's a semi-Nomi or a Nomi. And 2800 0 cannot be normal summoned or set, must first be special summoned from the hand by banishing one light and one dark monster from the graveyard. So it's a chaos monster. Once per turn, when the monster's effect activates in the hand, it gains 300 attack until end of turn. I'm not really impressed by that. It goes to 3100. That's okay, I guess, but I think I would have liked it if it went to 33 or 35. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can banish one card from your graveyard, add one Thunder monster from deck to hand. Okay. And then if you're during your opponent's end phase, you can target one of your banished cards, either bot deck it or top deck it. I'm not really impressed by what this guy does, considering that we have Chaos Monsters, BLS, Sork, and if it ever comes back, Chaos Emperor Dragon or the Chaos Emperor Dragon Pendulum Monster. Those I feel like would be better choices to banish your monsters for, as opposed to this guy who doesn't really get very big, doesn't have a protection effect, and needs to kill something in battle in order to do anything, compared to Sork and BLS, which are things that do things the moment they hit the board. I know I'm saying like weird words here, thing and thing and thing and thing, but basically what I'm trying to get at is today's Yu-Gi-Oh! We're okay. How do I word this without like sounding like a complete idiot here? Today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a time where battle phase isn't as important as what you can do in the main phase and the main phase 2. Most of your plays happen pre-battle. The battle phase is just the end to a means. So battle phase oriented effects are not really the greatest out there. It's one of the many reasons why the Felgrand revived structure deck flopped, was because it's very difficult to actually kill things in battle when you're trying to break your opponent's board. And this doesn't really help you get there. Whereas things like BLS and Chaos Lork, they break boards, which is why I feel like they're the better monsters. BLS also has the added benefit of being searchable off of Isolde. Granted, you can't summon at that turn, but if you want to play, say, the Golden Castle Stromberg engine in your deck, you can at least get BLS for the next turn. So, all in all, not particularly impressed by Aeon Thunder Dragon, but the other cards I'm liking. I don't know how many of these cards you'll probably run. probably 3 of the level 1, 3 of the Bolt, 3 or 2 to 3 avians, and 2 to 3 beasts. I don't think beast is as good as avian, therefore you'll probably run less of it, but it is, and you'll probably want to at least maybe run 5 lights, 5 darks, or 6 lights and 6 darks. Depends on what kind of chaos monster you go on. As a side note, I believe we now have. Oh no, it comes out in Cybernetic Horizon. I think there's a new spell card that lets you bot deck a level 6 monster from your field or hand to the grave to the bottom of the deck to draw 2 cards. I don't know if it has a hard ones return, but that's also just a thing that could happen. I mean, you have level 6s here, and if you play Chaos Sorcerer, it's also level 6. Just saying. So now we got our main deck more or less figured out, at least our monsters and what they do. Let's talk about the extra deck and the spells and traps, because these are things. And I just want to point out, look at how freaking badass these cards look. Like, look at this guy, this ultra rare here. Like, this will probably get rarity bumped to secret rare, and I wouldn't actually mind. Granted, it's also because it'll probably be very not played, a one of at most. So it'll be the kind of secret rare where you don't want to pull it, you want to trade for it. But look how fucking sick this is. Like, this is almost as good as some Narukami arts that I've seen, and like Thunder Dragons are just so badass looking, which is why one of the reasons why I adore that clan. And this will be a good holdover until we eventually get there. But in any case, so the first fusion monster, and in my opinion the better of the two, is Super Bolt Thunder Dragon. It's a level 8 Dark Thunder Infusion effect, 26-24, and its materials are Thunder Dragon and 1 Thunder monster. So this one requires you to play the OG Thunder Dragon Infusion summon it, or does it? Because it has the effects of must either be fusion summoned or special summoned by tributing 1 non-fusion Thunder effect monster after a Thunder monster effect activates in hand previously in this turn, in which this you do not use polymerization. So, TLDR, you activate any one of these guys in the hand, and then normal summon a Thunder monster from your hand that has an effect. You can just sack it off and summon this guy. Simple as that. So, that Gold Sark combo I talked about, where you Gold Sark out Thunderbolt, no, Bolt Thunder Dragon. Oh my god, this name is going to get me forever. So you Gold Sark Bolt Thunder Dragon, search Avian, discard Avian, summon Bolt Thunder Dragon back. You've now met the requirements to summon Super Bolt Thunder Dragon, so you can just tribute it and summon this guy. Gold Sark lets you drop a 2600 monster with effects, and they are: 1. Your opponent cannot add cards from their deck to the hand except by drawing them. 2. If this would be destroyed by battle by a card effect, you can banish 1 Thunder monster from your graveyard instead. It is a one-sided mistake in Thunder King Ryo that also can save itself by banishing Thunder monsters, which, by the way, doing that play I mentioned puts 2 in the graveyard, a light and a dark no less, so you can actually make a Chaos monster if you wanted to, but you can just keep Avian and Super Bolt in the graveyard, and they'll trigger when they try and kill this thing. So their option is to try and remove it through other effects, which hopefully you'll have some kind of protection for. But the fact is, it is a 2600 level 8 mistake that you can just use, that you can drop off a gold sarcophagus. And it's one-sided. I have to point this out. It is one-sided. So you can make this guy and still resolve your own search effects as opposed to Thunder King Ryo and Mistake. That's pretty fucking good. Like, I am pleased with this card. And yeah, like the fusion materials are a bit difficult if you want to summon it the normal way, but you're going to be summoning it the other way through just doing the tributing effect. And then we got the other guy, which is Lord Thunder Dragon, level 10 light, 32-32, requires 3 Thunder Dragon monsters, not 3 Thunder Dragons. So you can use this. You can use any of the archetype monsters to make this, and you might end up fusion summoning it the old-fashioned way because of the fusion spell. But you can either fusion summon it by using its materials, or you can banish 2 Thunder monsters, 1 from the hand and 1 fusion monster from your field. Yeah, and accept itself, in which you don't use polymerization. I need to point out that there is an instant fusion target for that is a Thunder monster. I think it's in the Immortal of Thunder. No, it's Kaminari Attack. 1 second, we gotta see. Yeah, this guy here, Kaminari Attack, also from Metal Raiders. Incoming buyout, as it's a level 5, it's a win, so unfortunately it's not Chaos Fodder. But the important thing is, though, you can instant fusion this thing out and banish any Thunder monster from your hand to immediately drop Lord Thunder Dragon. And what does he do? Well, when a Thunder monster effect activates in the hand, even during the damage step, you can just throw 1 card on the field. This is not once per turn, and your Thunder Dragon monsters with their discard effects are all chainable. So if you happen to have enough cards, you can pick apart your opponent's board. Like this right here is a Narukami unit, which is pretty sweet. And then if this card would be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish 2 cards from your graveyard instead. That I don't like. Its protected effect is pretty weak compared to that of Super Bolt Thunder Dragon, which saves itself from battle. And truth be told, your opponent's probably going to be outing this through other effects. So truth be told, I realize I wish it was if this card would be targeted by a card effect, you can banish 2 cards from your graveyard to negate the effect instead, or something else. Because I don't know, I feel like your opponent's going to out this a lot easier. But you can actually fusion summon this thing through the fusion spell, and the fusion spell is actually pretty sweet. So Thunder Dragon Fusion, it's searchable. It's a normal spell card. You can only use each of this card's effects once per turn. The first one is fusion summon 1 Thunder Fusion monster from your extra deck by shuffling into the deck fusion materials listed on it that are on your field, in your graveyard, or from your banished cards in your possession. Okay, so as a side note, I've actually talked about this with a friend in the past, but like I have tried coming up with a fusion summon of 3 Thunder Dragons, as well as a fusion spell aptly named Thunder Fusion, and its bonus effect was you could fusion summon it using shuffling materials from your graveyard as long as your opponent had like certain conditions. This is though completely better from what I ever could have came up with. It is free. I mean, granted, you can't shuffle materials from hand into the deck, but that's the same as shuffling materials from field into deck anyway, so you're going like neg. But shuffling materials from your graveyard and you're banished into the deck, that's pretty fucking sweet because you will amass a pretty decent pile of banished Thunder monsters by just playing your deck. So Thunder Dragon Fusion lets you shuffle 3 of those cards back into the deck to drop Thunder Lord Dragon. So while Thunder Lord Dragon may not be as impressive as Super Bolt Thunder Dragon, you're going to be summoning it just because it reloads your deck. And there's an added incentive to playing this card, which is during your main phase, except during the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish it to tutor any Thunder monster from your deck to your hand. That's right. This has the same effect as Zephyr Providence. No, wait, not Zephyr Providence. What is it called? Good and Evil of the Burning Abyss. There we go. The ritual spell, which you can manage it to search a Burning Abyss, except this actually has a playable monster to work with. And I should point out that Beast can discard itself to get this card back after you've banished it to search out Beast. So you got like a little bit of a loop here because you can use Thunder Fusion to shuffle back Beast and 2 other cards, and then the next turn you can banish Thunder Fusion to add Beast back to your hand, and you can discard Beast to get Fusion back, and you can just play Fusion again and drop another Thunder Lord Dragon and just keep swinging face if need be. So truth be told, you don't have to run very many copies of this card. Maybe even just 1 or 2 because you can banish it to get the Beast back, to get it back if need be. So that's a pretty sick card. If we ever get more Thunder Dragon, no wait, if we ever just get more Thunder Fusion monsters, this gets good. So, to my knowledge, Thunder Fusion monsters at this time consist of the Thunder Dragon, the Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon, the 2 cards listed on here, Gem Knight Prismora, Kaminari Attack, and I want to say Ulticana Hawk, the Ritual Beast Fusion monster that's at 1. That's also a Thunder monster. So, I wonder, can it be normal? Can it be fusion summoned through standard methods? I don't know about that one, but that would be neat. You can shuffle back your ritual beast materials into the deck to summon Kanahawk. Neat. That if that were the case, but yeah, Thunder Dragon Fusion is pretty sweet. I like it. Then we got the 100 Thunder Dragons, normal trap card. You can only activate 1 per turn. Target 1 Thunder monster in your graveyard. Special summon that monster, but it gets banished when it leaves the field. Then you can special summon from your graveyard as many monsters as possible to summon a monster's name, banish them when they leave the field. While a monster special summon that's affected is in your monster zone, you cannot special summon monsters except for Thunder monsters. I don't like this at all. If it's summoned from Banish, I'd consider it, but given that it summons strictly from Graveyard, and it restricts you from special summoning only Thunder monsters, that's kind of a hindrance given that there aren't very many good special summonable Thunder monsters out there in this game, and like they really need to expand upon this archetype, monster type. So eventually, maybe this will be good someday, but as it is, no, I'm not a big fan of this. Then we have, lastly, Thunder Dragon Stream. Continuous trap card. Number 1, your Thunder monster effect activations cannot be negated. Ooh! What is that? Altergeist Protocol does kind of the same thing. So, Basically, your opponent, if you have this face up, your opponent can't Ash Blossom your Bolt Thunder Dragon, or they can't Valor or shit. So that's neat. What else? Once per turn, if a Thunder Dragon monster is normal or special summoned to your field, you can target one spell trap on the field, banish one Thunder monster from your deck, and if you do, destroy the targeted card. I mean, I guess it's supposed to work with the other trap card, although I feel like Back to the Front or Call the Haunted would be like kind of better. The other trap card has the benefit of being searchable, so that is a thing. Um, I don't know, because on one hand, this deck kind of wants to be a going first, kind of can go first, but I almost feel like you could also feasibly go second. So that's pretty much all that we know at this time. In a nutshell, this shit's good, and if you actually read your fucking cards properly, you'd understand that these cards are pretty good in both a standalone deck to some extent, but probably more as an engine for decks that like the Banish cards, particularly Chaos and Invoked. I think we'll see Thunder Dragon Chaos and Thunder Dragon Invoked in some capacity. I don't know how good they'll be, especially since Japan's still pretty knee deep in Sky Striker format, but it could be something down the road. The fact that Thunder Dragon Fusion works for just Thunder fusions in general means that if we ever get a Thunder based fusion archetype, this could be good. You could just splash in like a couple Thunder Dragon cards and you're off to the races. Uh, this deck has tremendous potential. I'm excited to see where it goes, and I won't even be mad when some of these cards eventually get rarity bump because that's Konami, and they like to make things more higher rarity than they're supposed to be. But hey, Thunder Dragon Lord will probably be a secret rare, and it'll probably be a cheap secret rare because who knows what will be released in Soul Fusion. Depends on what kind of imports we get in Cybernetic Horizon. If Needle Fiber doesn't come out in Horizon in the TCG, then it's definitely coming out in Soul Fusion for the TCG. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say because I'm kind of just babbling at this point. Uh, these cards look sweet. Their effects look pretty strong on paper, and they have some potential splashability in other archetypes. We'll just see how it goes. And until next time, this is Blue Star 899 jacking out.